Hello and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a good old-fashioned rounding episode of Clout.Wav. I know episode 50 was a mouthful, and I know you've taken the time to take a bit of a reprieve, a little bit of a breather, but we're back! Episode 51, and we have plenty of things to talk about on this show. One of them being, yes, we know about one David Chappelle out of Ohio. We know. We will get there when we get there. But first, how you doing, man? The greatest
Oh,
co-host of all time.
I'm doing all right, man, but I'm trying to be like you, player.
Word? Let 'em know.
Man. You know how I'm trying to be like the good old Qyz over here. Qyz, as the kids call him. I don't know. Melty Blade came out. Melty Blade is good. Except for... Okay.
Except for?
Real quick.
Mm-hmm.
You know how there are all these people who are like, rollback netcode. Yeah, we gotta have rollback netcode in all the fighting games because that's the best netcode ever. Look, a lot of these devs, especially the Japanese ones who don't understand the importance of the netcode being good, they're gonna be like, aye, Captain, and give us Street Fighter V rollback netcode. All right, where it's pretty good, but in certain cases, it's going to be pretty fucking bad. People are going to be teleporting all over the place. Rollback is going to fight you, man. Rollback is going to be the assist for your opponent.
So you're saying rollback is the true final boss all along?
Rollback is the true final boss, and it's happening for this game, and it's also happening for another game that we are going to talk about today. So, yeah, besides that, the game is nice. The game's pretty fun. A lot of people who are playing it are having fun, and it's just fun times all around. It does have a few issues, but, those things will be ironed out with time. It's a good first product, and, it's the first product of that one guy, Yoshiro Ono. Yeah, he kind of is a part of the team that put this out, and he's like, hey, yeah, guys, it's so amazing that, on my first go on my new job that we're doing so well. We're one of the top games on Steam, and, we're one of the top fighting games to come out right now. Oh my God, it's so amazing. Yep, me, Ono, the Street Fighter man. Yep, I'm here.
The Street Fighter man?
Here, giving you the melty blood with French bread. Yep, that's right. I've switched over. I'm on the anime side now.
Hey, look, the anime Illuminati will take care of you, especially when you're loyal and you're humble. Let's face it, folks. We've seen it time and time again. Everyone said the anime community was down and out. We've been saying this a long time ago. Y'all make your bathroom jokes, your memes about you only playing with your friend in the back of the tournament venue. But no, y'all are big boy main stage. Somebody hosted me. Whoever did that, I appreciate you. You know what I'm saying? Big salutes to you. Hopefully you had a great stream, because Lord knows some of the stuff that I've seen over here over the past couple of weeks will lead me to believe that nobody is having a good time on Twitch. Especially not with the leaks, but once again, we'll get there when we get there. But continue.
Okay. For whatever reason, it seems that I have disappeared from your screen. But I am back now. Anyways, when it comes to the best part about Ono being on the French bread team is that now he doesn't have Blanca, so we get to sit here and guess what's the character who he's gonna get like a miniature toy of and be like, this is everyone. This character wants to talk to you right now. He has news on the patch. That's right. Rollback. No, we're not fixing the netcode. It's rollback. You want that? Yeah, we're adding new characters.
There's one thing that I think we need to stop, though. We need to stop using the phrase rollback netcode as a buzzword to get sales. I'm looking at you, Nickelodeon All Stars.
Yep.
But is it a good thing to have? Yes, but all rollback netcode is not created equal. Okay?
That's my point that I was making earlier.
I know. Some people think that it's just this grandiose phrase that you could just wave the white flag, and all of a sudden, when you drop it, you go presto changeo, and all of a sudden, everybody's connection is sublime, supreme. It's perfection on the screen. No, it's not. There are some connections out there that rollback netcode, no matter how good it is, it's not going to help. And in some cases, there's some rollback netcode which provides you with an experience that delay-based netcode never could. In terms of how terrible it is, because I mean, we've seen the Street Fighter Majin Buu, everyone turns into Janemba on the screen, and we've seen that. There are various other games where it's like, yeah, we got rollback, and all of a sudden there's desync, and what you're doing isn't even what you see on the other side of the screen. These things happen.
I'm pretty sure these things are going to happen with the new games that have been announced. Nick All Stars Brawl and Melty Blood,
Isn't a
because
Blaze Blue game supposed to be getting it as well?
that's the weird thing. There's like a rumor that Blaze Blue Central Fiction is going to get the rollback patch coming soon, like how Plus R did. People are saying that Blaze Blue Central Fiction is going to get that because of like a certain licensing or yeah, there was something recently that happened that wasn't directly like we're going to give you rollback on this. It was just some kind of licensing thing that had people believe that they're going to do that for that particular game because that's the most recent Blaze Blue game, and Lord knows we're not getting a new one anytime soon because Team Blue is, I don't know what they're doing. I mean, they're not updating Blaze Blue Cross Tag Battle. So
See, funnily enough, cross tag battle seems to be like I know it's not necessarily the same, but I know with
mhm.
games like Grand Blue, like games that came out during the great COVIDium scare of 2020.
Covidium scare, huh?
Yeah, and games that came out in that late part of 2019 where we were all like, "Ooh, I can't wait for the big tournaments next year. Let's go, baby!" And then just complete kaputski. Like, what is the state of Grand Blue like now? Because I know some people are still trying to hold events. People are
Oh
still
boy.
trying to push forward with it. But are the players there? Because I mean, I feel like now you're split between Grand Blue. Apparently, Blaze Blue is going to get some netcode update. But you obviously have your Guilty Gear, you have your Melty, and there's still this may or may not exist dungeon fighter game that is still looming on the horizon with a date untold.
Okay. Well, first, Blaze Blue Cross Tag Battle did have like a year to have like some good tournaments, a year and like maybe a half to have some good tournaments because it started off in 2018, and 2018 it came out like a couple of months before Evo, and then we had that great Evo where Fame 96 of Georgia fame, he made it all the way to grand finals and winners in that game, playing which was probably the most honest team that you ever saw out of all the teams that were playing in like top 8 for that game at the time. But yeah, so that had like a real big push. And then there was the first season of DLC characters that were announced, which gave it another nice push because there were interesting characters. And then the second wave of DLC got announced, but that came out pretty close to like Guilty Gear Strive being like in the zeitgeist. So between like Strive and I think like COVID and other things, the game kind of died out a little bit. Poor Grand Blue. Oh boy, that game came out. It then was like, we have this season pass is going to give you all these DLC characters. It took a while to give you that season pass of DLC characters, and then it also had a second season pass of more DLC characters. But that game came out so close to COVID that it didn't get to have big tournaments to really shine. Instead, people were stuck being at home playing on the playing online, and the online is not the best. It's delay based netcode, and it's not the best. So people eventually were just kind of like, I'm not feeling it. There's still a community. There's still people playing the game right now, but it's really hard to get into right now because it's so expensive if you want to have like everything.
Because
You
I'm going
know,
to tell you
it's
the timeline that I remember for this game. Announcement? There was this one dude who had his, I guess it was be his super, was he summoned some giant woman who had some crazy AoE effects that was
Mhm.
basically a mini game. Everyone said, oh, this game is about to be wild and degenerate. Then I believe it was a Japan versus North America 10v10.
Yep.
Or no, not Japan. I think it was like Team Capcom versus Team Anime Fighter 10v10.
That's right. And that was online, I think.
Yeah, and that was online. And then like Nook and Cranny local here, Nook and Cranny online event there. We ran a couple of events. But other than that, though, I have not seen much of anything of huge substance. But like I said, there's so much competition out there. We get a new fighting game seemingly every 4 months now, which, I mean, it's a good time to be a fighting game fan. But as a fighting game developer, oh, those are some tough waters you have to traverse.
Mhm.
I mean, it's at a point now where you see a lot of people who are playing Mortal Kombat, which is the most sold, best selling fighting game of our time, and they're struggling for viewership. It's tough out here in these streets because I hate to say it, but I never thought the fighting game genre would be what I would like to call a saturated market. And I'm not talking about shovelware. I'm not talking about your Clay Fighter XL knockoff. I'm not talking about the weird fighters that look like they're Mortal Kombat, but it's Batman on the screen, but it's not Batman. It's some dude named Jankman. Like, I'm not talking about those, okay? I'm not talking about your Sonic Smackdown. Not saying they can't be good games. I'm talking about games that legitimately can move units. There are a lot of them now, which is a good thing, but it's a double-edged sword because everybody can't play everything all the time. That's just not how it works.
That's fair.
And our communities are not as big as the mobile community. I'm telling you that right now. Dota can self-sustain. League of Legends, come on, it's League of Legends. That's Tencent money. You're not touching them.
Well, I think that's also because with the MOBA community, there are not like a lot of MOBAs that are being pushed as like this is like the new central, whatever. It's just updates to the existing ones. Like
Yeah.
here's the new League of Legends patch that's going to make you have a whole new League of Legends experience, but it's also still League of Legends.
It's
Free
the
to
same
play.
league you know, the same league you love. Because I think right now, I think there's 4, maybe 5. Correct me if I'm wrong. You guys in the
Mm.
comment section below can be the ones who discern that. But I'm pretty sure it's League, League Mobile, because League Mobile is actually a separate game.
Yep,
Pokemon Unite, yes, it counts. It counts.
it does.
Dota 2, and I think Hearts of Iron is still running strong. Not Hearts of Iron. Oh God, what is it? It's the
Heroes of
mobile
the
game.
Storm.
No, not that one. It's the mobile one.
What?
It's another mobile game. We used to call it Mobile League before Mobile League came out. Cardus was playing it. Oh God, it's gonna drive me up a wall now.
It's something Arena.
Arena of Valor.
Yeah,
Boom.
Arena
There
of
you
Valor.
go. Hearts of Iron is a campaign-based, like, tactical game. I don't know how I got that confused, but here I am in 2021, making the wrong moves. Don't be like me. Don't be like this guy. Be more like this guy to my right, the guy who's clearly got everything out. Y'all's left, it's my right. What's up, man? But point is, be more like subtle fraudulence. The only man I've ever met who doesn't make mistakes that are not on purpose.
Uh, people who are making mistakes on purpose. You gotta. I think you need to get new friends, man. I don't know if that's really the case. First and foremost, I know
No,
that you have.
I'm just saying you're the only man who I know who doesn't make mistakes. And if you do make mistakes, it's because you did it on purpose. That's what I'm trying to say. That's the message. I'm not saying that I just know people out here who are just making mistakes, because that's not a mistake. That is just negligence. That is intentionally going out of your way to be a sack of garbage. I don't deal with those people. Cut those people off immediately and expeditiously. That's neither here nor there. But yeah, going back to the thick of it, we got plenty of games that, recently came out. I'm currently going through Metroid Dread right now. And some people thought that I would have a dreadful experience because, let's be honest, when I first saw the trailer, I was like, look, it's Mercury Steam. It's the same people who did Samus Returns. And I'm going to be honest with you, wasn't a big fan of their 3DS outing, but, it's Metroid. I got to plunker down my $60, my $60, my guaps, and see if this game is actually going to be a step in the right direction. And to my surprise, is it a step in the right direction? Yes. Are they there yet? Absolutely not. However, it's not doom and gloom, okay? I will say about 6, 7, no, I guess about now, since I played a couple hours today, anywhere from 9 to 10 hours in. And I will say this, I'm getting close to the end, but I will say that first 2/3 of the game, nah. Not saying it was bad, but it does that thing that irritates me more than games that are bad. The game that is almost good, and every time you think it's gonna move that meter, strike that chord, tap that vein, and really kick it in, it's like that beat where you're waiting for the drop, but the drop never comes. And that's what it felt like. It just felt like it was treading water for the longest time.
You
Then
mean like Remember Me? Because
oh my god.
I played that game with that same feeling of like, yeah, we're getting there. It's about to get real good. And it's like, oh wait, okay, maybe later, maybe later. Hey, wait, this seems like very final. Wait, is that a final boss? What the fuck? The game is over.
So I'll say about like my main problem, and this is I'm not gonna spoil anything, so if you guys wanna, not have any spoilers, you're safe. There's a thing that happens with the boss fights in this game where the boss fights either fit one of two conditions. Condition one, they overstay their welcome. Like it just becomes a tedious, busy work thing, and you're not really integrated and like really immersed in the fun or the challenge. It's just like, all right, bro, can you wrap this up? Like I'm done with you, bro. Like, can we wrap this up, right? And there's other bosses. Like there's a cool underwater boss, and I'm like, oh, let's go. This looks sick. There's water physics. You gotta grapple around. You gotta go from left to right. You gotta activate these mechanisms, and I'm like, okay. And the boss fight is one phase. Like you just do one repetition. That's it. Like the fight ends like that, and then like it starts drying up, and I'm like, oh, okay. Clearly, it's gonna go into its shell, molt, form 2. There is no form 2. It just abruptly ends, and I'm just sitting there like, so I was cool, and then I wasn't. Then there's a couple of boss fights that like are these really sick enemies. I don't want to spoil it because it's a huge plot twist, but there's sick enemies. One's got a javelin, one's got like a pulse blade, and then you fight the other one with the pulse blade, then you fight them at the same time. But it does that thing where the bosses become generics, but you don't have enough upgrades from when you fought them to make them feel like generics. So it's literally recycled boss. This ain't a remake of the second Metroid game, guys. There's no reason for us to funnel our ways through 30 of the same boss, guys. We don't need to do that. And I will say this right now. The Emmy gimmick gets tiring. It was not fun. It's not scary. It doesn't immerse me. I feel like it's just there to pad out artificially the length of time you're in this game. And it's just like, who cares, bro? Because I don't. I can't. I just wrap this section up. I think I killed about 6 of them. I think there's one purple one left. But I won't give you any spoilers about what they do and how they do it. But I will say this. Parrying them feels real good. Feels real good. But everything else, oh my god. Just go ahead and waterboard me with my keyboard while we're at it. Just give me some electroshock therapy and put me out of my misery because I just don't want to deal with it. But that being said, we're trucking along at a steady pace. And I will say that the game is aggressively average at worst and relatively good at best. So, if you're not a Metroid fan, would I recommend this to you? If you want something that is going to fulfill your need to have something that is going to be here and you can play for a long time, something that has some meat to it, wholeheartedly recommend it. If you're someone who doesn't like necessarily having challenging gameplay, stay away. This ain't the Metroid game where you can turn your brain off and just explore and just think everything's gonna be all hunky dory. Cause stuff out here they slapping out there. You can get killed in 5 or 6 hits, and in the early game you can get killed in 3 or 4. It's not what we call. It's not a safe space. We'll just put it that way. But that being said, I've been having a pretty solid time with it. So you guys are interested in the Metroid, come on down. We'll keep the light on for you. But I will say this. The story better have a good ending, because thus far, not a fan. Not a fan. Especially since all the stuff that I predicted when we watched the reveal trailer, every single tick box that I said then, months ago, nailed it. 100%er. They don't call me Negro Damas for nothing. But that's a weird flex, bro. I won't go any further than that. because today, here on our show, we need to talk about the Twitch leaks. That's right, we're actually going to start off talking about Twitch because days without incident on Twitch, the counter seems to never get past 2. Somehow, some way. So the fraudulence, take it away.
Okay. Many of you here on Twitch may already know about the Twitch leak that happened, but if you don't, someone, we don't know who, but someone hacked their way into Twitch and they got everything. They got literally everything that they could get from Twitch. They got the whole database and they got Twitch's source code. And they dumped a bunch of
Imagine that.
information. Yeah, man. Wow. It's almost like maybe the security is not the best, or maybe someone did it on the inside.
Well, here's the thing. You can have your Mission Impossible conspiracy theories all you like, but there's one thing that needs to be said. When I say it can happen to anybody,
Here.
I mean anybody. Billionaires, trillionaires, people who are just the common average Joe. People who don't even have a house. If somebody wants you, they can hem you up and shake you for all you got without even having to lay a finger on you because everything's digital these days. But you need to understand how dangerous of a situation Twitch finds itself in. Twitch's entire source code, the entire thing, the kit, the caboodle, people's passwords, people's monetary earnings, their contract obligations, things of that, all of that has been siphoned away from the host site. The fact that we're on this platform, somebody somewhere probably now has a list of statistical data that has my name on it, his name on it, his name on it, your name on it. You in the chat, you in the YouTube comment section, if you have a Twitch account, somehow, some way, you're probably wrapped up in this as well. And the reason why this is so dangerous, and why I think a lot more people need to be talking about it, is just due to the simple fact that people's monetary values, in terms of what they make here on Twitch, through Twitch, were leaked. We know who makes what, and how they make it on a quarterly basis.
You know what surprised me though?
What's that?
Okay, so the initial list that came out was a list of top earners from like August of 2019 up until October 2021. Well, I guess like end of September of 2021. The top of the list, the very top of the list, Critical Role. The Critical Role Twitch channel makes the most out of all the content creators on the platform right now.
That's not who I would have picked, to be honest. But
Yeah.
then again, I guess if you have a whole huge, because I'm assuming they're like a whole team of people, so maybe.
Yeah, it's a whole team of people. It's like a show of like people who are playing they play Dungeons and Dragons together. So sometimes they have like some maybe like celebrities, some guests here and there. But for the most part, it's like a group of people, and they play D&D together, and they've acquired some fame over the years.
Because I've seen some people on that Reddit page to where the leaks are posted in chronological order as they happen, where they're saying stuff like they have statistical data analysis that basically points to which, like, it's stupid categories. Like, it's to the point where this data is so detailed. They're like, the people who make the most money's on average Twitch username has this many letters. Begins with this letter. Like, nonsensical data that has nothing to do with anything, but it says the most watched channels on average are channels that have the letter X in their username. Like, yeah, it's getting to a point to where it's like, the fact that they have lost that much control to where you literally have pocket checked the entire entity of Twitch. And the only thing Twitch has had to say about it was, yes, the leaks are true. We're looking into things. And I know they don't want to cause any sort of panic. But Twitch, we've been having problems on here for, let's just say, a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds fair, right? Sounds fair.
That sounds
a
fair.
minute. And somehow, every single time we come to a new hurdle and we say, come on, guys. Come on. Twitch can clear this one. All they got to do is protect their information. That ain't even. that they don't have to be looking out for us. That's looking out for them. And they couldn't even do that. How, Sway? How? I ask you this question very humbly. How? How do these things continuously unfold on this platform? Because at this point, you can't go any lower. At this point, I think I should just strap up my briefcase, put on my satchel, give the old salute, and bring Clout.Wav 100% exclusively to YouTube and just call it a day. Because at least over there, I'm relatively safe. Not the safest, because Google has their own hiccups, but this right here, this ain't getting it. This, in fact, 100% does not slap. It doesn't. It's no bueno, my guy. But that's where we are with it right now. And unfortunately, Twitch is still working on the last problem that they had. High hate rates, they still happen. Not nearly as frequently as they used to. All right, not out here saying that people are just getting done up and run up on every single time they go live. But they still exist. And they still happen. And unfortunately, due to that behavior, the last thing Twitch needs at this point is stuff to be stacking and accumulating in a cumulative fashion to where the workload is starting to become a little, well, overbearing. And I feel at this point, I feel like I might have had enough. I think I might just be like, you know what, boys? You know what, ladies? This sweet, succulent, juicy face is going to go to another platform. I mean, I don't know about you, Self-Frost. It's like, what? Like, have you thought about moving to another platform, or is Twitch just Twitch? Because I know you don't limit yourself. You use good old-fashioned, handy-dandy restream program, which allows you to stream on multiple places with one stream key. That one's for free restream. We're charging you next time. But that being said, like, do you feel as though Twitch is just dead in the water for you? Like, what do you like? Who are you looking at?
Let's be real here right now, man.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think I have a big enough audience to be like, I'm moving somewhere else, everybody, and they're all just that's really gonna affect me? Nah, man. I'm gonna be on Twitch for now. For now, I mean, all the people who are affected, all the people who are outed, they're all still on Twitch as well. I might consider YouTube, but it doesn't, like, it doesn't matter right now. It's still building, still trying to be like all these people who Jesus Christ, man, there's so many who are making like hundreds of thousands per month and whatnot, getting deals and whatnot. Like, it's not easy. There are a lot of content creators on Twitch. I mean,
it's a very saturated market for various reasons, and not all of them are things that you can necessarily like circumvent. Like,
I did take away one thing though.
Mm-hmm.
Out of like the top 20 people who are here, who are in most of these lists, most of them are people who are not streaming video games for the majority of their streams. So, are video games dead?
Oh man, dead
Question
game?
mark?
Are all games dead games? Is just chatting the only game in town?
People are here for the human experience, I guess. They're here for the content from other people to have conversations and whatnot. Even though when it comes to a lot of these streamers, like for example, I go to Hassan's stream a lot.
Mm-hmm.
There's you can't interact with that man unless you're like griefing him, because fucking his chat is scrolling all the damn time, like 24/7, all the time. There are probably people in his chat just talking right now, even though he's not streaming right now. Like,
just having casual conversations.
Just having casual conversations.
What you gonna do until the next time he streams? Well, I don't know, buddy, but I'm here to spend it with you.
Exactly. Like, it's insane. Like, once you get to that point, once you get to a certain point, you can't have like interactions with your chat very often. You can just say things and then see like the general consensus and be like, oh, all right. Or you'll see like maybe a mean comment and be like, wow, you just came here to bait me, huh? Or you just came here to say something stupid, huh? Well, get that ass banned. Anyways,
hit him with the EX gotcha moment.
EX gotcha moment. I mean, hey man, low tier god Destiny. Those people are streaming on YouTube, and they're doing fine right now. But I don't know. YouTube doesn't seem like a platform that's getting
Well, here's the
that
thing.
cares.
YouTube, unless you are streaming and you're part of that top 1%, the only time you're making money
Yeah,
is if you're getting some sort of endorsement deal, whether it's like through Raycon or Raid Shadow Legends or any of the other ones that you see a plethora of every time your favorite content creator decides to upload a video. And some of these segues, some of them y'all are getting creative, but some of y'all do not, y'all need to get someone to write these segues because y'all be in the middle of a video talking about, oh yeah, Mario is just so good. He's broken in Mario Golf, man, S tier character. Have you ever shaved your balls with Manscaped? Like it's like, hello,
huh?
what do you, what you want? Why is Manscaped on a Nintendo video? I just feel like know your audience. Like nah. Then I'm like, nah, you're right. Anybody who's looking up tier lists for Mario Golf is probably definitely 100% an adult. I don't think the children care about that. They're just here to swing a little bit of putt putt on the green. That's all they're here to do. I digress. Pulling back forward towards the topic of leaks. I just don't know how it keeps happening, man. Like you just think Twitch
You
at some
don't?
point. Oh, I know how it happens. Like, they're careless. They clearly have a level of tact that they don't know how to show it. Like clearly they know what the problem is, but they won't address it until it's too late. Usually they're just probably sitting there like, it's not a problem. They'll forget about it. We'll be back at status quo in a week. And 9 times out of 10, they are right. Like if this doesn't get people to do something, then I mean nothing will. I mean if their source code is compromised, what do you think they can protect? I ask you
Look,
this: can they protect anything? These are the questions I want the answers to.
I mean, probably not, but most big platforms on the internet can't. Um, y- I mean, shit, like your banks, your
Oh, they all get cooked.
yeah, because they have like really like shitty security because they try to cut costs by saying, okay, well, let's just get the bare minimum. I mean, who the fuck is gonna try to hack a bank?
Yeah, because they're just like, come on, guys. Why would we ever be a target? We can cut a few
Hmm.
corners on costs here, make max revenue. Come on, guys, it's smart. Because everyone is okay with doing that until they inevitably fucked around and found out. When they finally decided to test that assumption at their earliest convenience, and then it became inconvenient for them, and now everyone's like, so what what are you gonna do about that? How are you gonna reimburse your clientele? How are you gonna make the people who make your site go or make your establishment thrive feel comfortable doing business with you in the future?
Hmm.
Where Twitch goes forward from here, I mean, let's be honest. Let's keep it a whole beat. Let's get the whole podcaster's character out of it, guys. Nothing's going to happen. Twitch is eventually going to announce that we have fixed it, blah, 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 blah. And thank you for being Twitchers. And then we're all going to go, well, I guess they got it. And then we're all back to streaming stuff by, what was it, October 8th today? Yeah. I give it by October 14th. Not even a whole week. I give it 6 days.
Oh, you're late. It took literally people saw the leak and they're like, I'm going live anyways. I'm going live to actually talk to you about the leak right now.
Yeah, there you go. Boom. Bada boom,
Like
bada bam.
nothing changed because people already know. People who stream on Twitch often already know that Twitch is not really going to do much about it. Twitch is not going to be able to do much about it. Um, this is probably a situation where someone has like an issue with Twitch and they're like they hired someone or they themselves are the someone who is like, I'm gonna hack Twitch and I'm gonna get all of this
But
information on them.
could you imagine if some dude thinks he's like a Gotham villain? Just sitting there like, hey, I'll make them dance. They laughed at me before. Let's see who's laughing now. Everyone's still laughing, bro. Trust me.
Yeah, Bezos is not gonna bail out Twitch.
Well, you gotta remember, Bezos gave up some power. through word of mouth, probably through vocals only. But he's not.
Yeah, he's
He
busy going to space. Like it doesn't fuck. It ultimately doesn't fucking matter. Whoever is like in charge of Amazon doesn't care enough about Twitch. If Twitch were to like go down right now, maybe they'll be like, "Oh, we got to get it back up." Or if it was like, "You got to get rid of Twitch right now," they'll be like, "Oh, well, we'll get rid of it and get our own
Well, here's the
video
thing.
game streaming platform."
Here's the thing about Twitch that people still don't know. I said it like 30 episodes ago. I said it 20 episodes ago. On average, on a fiscal year, Twitch does nothing for Amazon but lose them money. It's just they have a cornerstone and a chokehold on the streamer market that they are not trying to lose. They have an inside lane on something that could one day really break the bank and really go big as supplementary content to your Disneys and your Pixars and your Nickelodeons and your Cartoon Networks and USA Networks and your basic cable television packages, your Stars, blah, 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 blah. And they don't want to relinquish that because they would be foolish to do so. I mean, after all, Microsoft peeked in here and said, "Oh, let's go, baby, woo!" And then they realized they're never going to get the inside lane. They can get some leverage. They can get some people. They can get some right minds in their business right now. Some real industry leaders like a Ninja, various others. And as you saw, the inside lane was untouchable in terms of the actual structural integrity that they built here on Twitch in terms of live streaming content. You're not getting in here. Because remember, Twitch used to be this thing called Just TV. It's been here for a long. It's substantial what's been going on over here.
Okay. Another thing that's very interesting about these numbers is that you have this like group of all these idiots who are complaining about booba streamers, who are complaining about like the followers of Amaranth who are doing whatever it is that she's doing to change the meta, ear licking, all that stuff, right?
No, you mean the mic with the Fellatio 9000 receptor?
Right. They complain about those streamers, but in the top 10. In most of these numbers, I think Amaranth is maybe the only one that's in that list, and I think even she's actually below top 10. So like none of these streamers that they complain about are in that like upper echelon of like they're getting paid a salary of like millions per every year from Twitch. They're still making a lot of money, but it's definitely not they're destroying the platform, they're taking over the platform, none of that shit. We have actual numbers to be like, no, you're wrong. Stop complaining. Just say that you don't like women or you don't want boobs or something. Like, because like, look,
All
I'm
right,
over here enjoying that.
Let me spill it to you like this, guys. The people who are going to these streams who want to see gelatinous tongues caress a microphone, see some cheeks underwater while she's wearing a skimpy, translucent bathing suit, to see someone just apply lotion to their legs for 2 hours, or just sit face down, ass up, with the booty meat facing the camera. Anybody who's watching streams of that particular nature didn't care about your speed run of Super Metroid in the first place. They did not care about your world record score, your kill count. They didn't care about your KD. They never once even bothered to look to even see if you were good at a video game or if you even played them. That's not why they're in that directory in the first place. So they're not taking your audience. That is a whole different audience of people that they are all competing for. Those are some people who said, I want to actually see porn, but show me little things to give me a little aroused. And maybe, just maybe, I can reward you with some coin. Does that sound good, my mistress? My Dommy. Like, that's those people. That's those people. That other audience is talking about a little bit more niche on Twitch. And you gotta go up and beyond and hit a whole new echelon to compete. And a lot of times, even when you're there, you have to do this thing. And I know a lot of people don't want to do this thing, but you gotta do this thing. You gotta multi-purpose your video. You have an amazing moment on Twitch you think more people should see? Post it on TikTok, post it on Twitch, post it on Twitter, put it up on YouTube. You see, every YouTuber now has this thing called insert username clips. They have a clips channel now. Or they just throw their TikToks that were on TikTok and repurpose them on YouTube and put that hashtag shorts in the title. And some of these videos that are shorts, obviously being easily more digestible because of the fact that they're shorter content and they can show you at your best or worst, depending on whatever you want it to be. And yeah, some of those channels accumulate more viewership than your actual main channel. And you can use those as 20, 30, 2-minute long advertisements for the main attraction, which is you. It's perfect. It's great. Now, I understand a lot of people may get annoyed because you got to like make it in like 6 different aspect ratios. You got to have it in 1080 by 720 for TikTok. Then you got to have, in a 16 by 9 landscape orientation for YouTube. Then you got to have it in a 1 by 1 grid system for Instagram. And you got to do that. But if you're trying to grow, you're going to have to do these things or do what I do. I do this thing where I cheat. I make a template that has all 3. And all I have to do is just slide the video into a different video track, render it, slide it into a different video track, render it again. Yep. That's how you do it. You just make one save file called clips, whether it be in your Adobe After Effects or your Sony Vegas or whatever video program you use. Set it up. Have 3 different video tracks. Have them all, one for Instagram, one for each and every social media that you use. And I just put you up on free game. But that aside, look, guys, as you're going to have to do, you're going to have to either be more entertaining or you're going to forever lose to good old-fashioned soft, delicate titty. Or, just stream for your own amusement, for your fun and enjoyment of yourself. But I digress. Anything you want to add to
No, no, because honestly, to be okay.
I mean, to be a top streamer, you got to get lucky in the first place. Let's not act like
it's not luck.
Yes,
it's
it
not
is.
luck.
Oh, yes, it is.
Sometimes it's luck, but like when you see a lot of these people, it's not luck. It's literally the same as like how how when Vine was big, a lot of the people that were top creators on Vine, there were people who put each other on, and then one of them was oh my god, her last name was like Fontaine or something. She's currently married to Pam Anderson's ex, the dude that was from the band. Oh my god, I don't remember his name.
You lost me on this one.
Oh my god, Tommy Lee. She's currently married to Tommy Lee. She has a whole story of she was one of those people who got put on by her friends, like King Batch and all of them, because they're all Vine stars and they're like, you do this, 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 and this. Show up in my clips, boom, you're on. People are gonna pay attention to you and your channel and all that shit, and then you're on. And she did that. And then when Vine was closing down, they all had to hustle their way into getting numbers on a different platform, getting YouTube, Instagram, whatever, right? But they all left her behind. And so she just kept going on the downfall. She was on the downswing, she was losing numbers and people were like, your shit is not that funny, yada, yada. Ultimately, even if she wasn't funny, she would still be on if she was still with those people and whatnot, because we all know them now. Even though, when you pay attention to like King Batch right now or Lily, was it Lily Singh, and it's just like, but
I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I missed out on Vine. I'm just tell you what it is. I don't know what it was about Vine, but seeing 7-second clips, it ain't do nothing for me. So that whole era of content creators, unless they then struck it on YouTube and like are doing something now, I missed out wholeheartedly. Because the names that you mentioned outside of King Bach and that this joke has never been funny, but it just never escapes. There's a dude, and his entire, I don't know if I won't say it's his entire profile, but his entire profile that I saw, which is different ways of him saying something that rhymes with watermelon. And I'm like, did this? Did, is this your kid? That's how I felt. So I just never got into not TikTok. I never got into Vine.
Vine appealed to people who had ADHD for hard body. TikTok is the same thing. They just added music to it. It used to be Musically, actually. But anyways. Point being, top streamers that you see now, they are up there because not only because of the fact that they knew a lot of people who are also top streamers who like told them like what stuff to get, how to set up the streams, how who to stream with to get like numbers up and shit like that. It's also because they had ways of getting money to buy all these like things like the expensive cameras and all that shit to make sure that they were out there. But it's mainly because they, would feature each other in each other's like, channels. So that someone would be like, who's that guy? I kind of like the what he's talking about. I'm going to go to his channel now.
Hey, Rome wasn't built alone.
Yeah, like the main thing is like with Hassan, with his lore is that like him and Destiny were very close around the time Hassan was starting. So Destiny's like the person that put him on, the person who's like helping him like set up his stuff and like get viewers on his channel and stuff like that. And he was streaming like Fortnite and shit like that before he became part of the Young Turks. And then he was on the Young Turks for a while. He was using that to like build up his brand more and more. And then one day on his stream, he fucking said that America deserves 9/11, and he blew up, of course, because people were like, who's this guy? And, and now the rest is history. He's the bro of all bros who shows up and gives political commentary. Ludwig was actually like a part of the Melee. Oh, well, he is a part of the Melee community. Like he was a player, commentator, etc. And he was actually someone who did jobs for people like Gutex for Cross Counter, helping with like video projects and whatnot. And he took that with also having like other friends who have those skills. He put that into his stream, and now he's doing better than ever. And his girlfriend is also a top streamer. Like a lot of these people that you see in the top 10 are people who hang out with each other, or at the very least, like, they get on panels with each other. They do podcasts with each other. They do things to promote each other so that if you don't know who they are, but you're a fan of the other person, now all of a sudden you know this person and they get views. Like that's just how it goes. And also, if you do something that gets you put in any kind of fucking news article or makes you like a trending topic on Twitter for like 2 days to a week, people are going to come to your channel regardless. They're going to come to talk shit. They're going to come to praise you. They're going to come to do whatever, but they're going to be there. And so eventually that's going to turn into subs. It's going to turn into, all this shit. So unfortunately, with the way Clout works, you got to do some kind of wild shit to like get into that spectrum now to get like trending and whatnot, especially because algorithms are like not specifically tailored for the people who have the like 2 or 3 viewers, or the people who have the 20 to like 100 viewers or whatever. It's usually like, hey, XUC is on. Don't you want to see XUC and all the videos that XUC puts out? And here's the content that he puts out with his friends. That kind of shit. If you're Joe Sixpack and
Joe Sixpack.
Yeah, you put out
you
like,
love that name, bro.
Look, man, if you're Joe 7-pack and you put out like the best content known to man, people aren't gonna know unless you do something that's gonna catch their attention. And the only way to catch their attention is to do something that's gonna like make it so that the algorithm has to recommend you to people, or other people who have a large fan base recommend you in general. Like TK Breezy, the Smash commentator, who like also commentates other games. He's like, a well-known guy. He's a real cool guy. He streams, and his stream is definitely not in that like upper echelon, and it's mainly because like he's not part of that like clout circle or whatnot, but he's a well-known figure at this point in time, and he streams. So like it doesn't necessarily mean like, oh yeah, I'm a commentator or whatever. All these people know me in this community. That means I'm gonna have all the content known to man. Nah, you still have to expose yourself to a majority of your community plus people outside of your community at least twice to get numbers that are consistent. Because I mean, yeah, sure, one day XQC could like raid us or something, and we'll have like a bunch of people. There'll be some drop off, but it'll be nice. Some people will stick on, but for the most part, if it doesn't happen 2 or 3 more times, it's not going to be enough because those people are just going to go back to XUC, or they're going to go to SFan, or they're going to go to Ludwig, they're going to go to whoever's like top.
Because
So
I mean, at this point now, most of the people who are on this platform already have people that they watch.
yeah,
So
and
you're competing with the people who they already follow. Because some of these folks who are actual people have accounts that they still stream, that they still follow, but they ain't watched them in months because, I mean, let's face it, unless you decide you want to change your schedule to 2 a.m. to 10 in the morning, you are competing with everybody out here on prime time Twitch real estate.
exactly.
Like right now, I'm sure I could go right now on Twitch, open up the directory, and I can rattle off probably 15, 20 big names that I ain't got no chance of catching within the next 2-3 years. Unless, like, that lucky meteorite just comes out here and just kaplooskis on the channel. What do they call it? The big bless up? Unless somebody got that eye on me, hit me with the big bless up. It's not gonna happen.
Yeah, and the thing, another thing about a lot of these content creators, they all live around the same spaces. Like it's either Cali or now Texas. I actually made a joke after seeing like Critical Role at the top. I was like, they were at Dragon Con. Maybe we should have like found a way to introduce ourselves and like like introduce myself as like a cool person who could be a guest on the show so that I could be the one and only most popular streamer that's actually in Atlanta and not in California or New York or Texas.
Hey
Because
man, but make sure you tell the people the whole truth. Atlanta, the city, is a bill of goods. All the people who talk about, yeah, I rep Atlanta, they don't live in Atlanta. They don't. They live in your Sandy Springs, your Decatur's. They live in Gwinnett County. It's not. They do not live where you think they live. I'm gonna tell you that right now. So
hmm
anybody who says that they're moving to Atlanta and it's like, oh, I can't wait to go to Atlanta, please tell me that you're moving to suburbia. Because moving to inner city Atlanta, that you're gonna be like, this ain't what I was told Atlanta was. And I'm gonna be like, you're right. You're absolutely right. Because boy, Georgia is a cap state. Big cap. It's not like when people say, oh, you move out to LA, they really mean LA. Atlanta means the outlying area, the metro Atlanta area, as they call
Yep, and yep again.
it. Because that's just what it is. It's just what it is. But if you wanna once again, you wanna test that assumption, you wanna test that assertion as false, please go against it at your earliest convenience. I wait to see the results in which you. But that being said, Twitch, ginormous shit show. But turns out that's not the only one in town because for some rhyme or reason, people who don't like Thing get mad that Thing does thing they don't like. Enter David Chappelle. Now, I know some of y'all may have seen some of his few specials like Stick and Stones and the other two that have come out on Netflix, but he came out with one recently that was less of a comedy show and more of somebody who is an artist, a master of their craft, trying to open up to an audience to form some sort of dialogue that was kind of open ended, yet at the same time one sided, about his beefs, transgressions, and thoughts about a specific community, that being the LGBTQ community. And we're at a point now where it's like, look, I get it, Dave. You wanted to express this, you wanted to make it palatable, you wanted to make sure that everybody understood your message. And you knew that people were going to misconstrue it, not listen, blah, 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 blah. But before we go into the Dave Chappelle part, I just have to ask you this. Anybody who didn't like Dave Chappelle's first special, or maybe you said, you know what, maybe give him a second chance, I didn't like the first one. I'll watch the second special. I don't understand how people are watching the fourth one and acting like they were just expecting some huge eureka moment, like he was going to transmogrify and be something brand new. Because I'm seeing some of the same people complained about the first one, complaining about this one. And they're saying, I can't believe that he would say such a thing. And I was like, you mean like he did like 8 months ago? Or how about 17 months ago? About 25 months ago? You see where I'm going with this, right? Do you not? Like it's just weird to me. Like if I have something on a menu and I think it tastes like trash, I won't be ordering it again in the future. If I'm watching a show and I'm like, first episode was and the second episode was hot doo doo butter, that's it. I'm gonna go watch something else that is more to my taste, to my liking. And I just think it's weird that some people are just like being professional people in anguish. Like, is being in anguish your job? Is being offended your job? Like, I'm just trying to figure some things out. Now, I'm not saying that you can't be offended at the jokes. Not saying that. But I feel like some of y'all knew y'all were walking into what that was, knowing what that was, and then acting shocked that you got what we knew you were going to get because you got it twice already. I would argue 3 times. But as for Dave Chappelle's special, what did you think, Senor Fraudulence?
Okay. I I wanted it to be funnier. Like, okay, so like the first like three specials, three, is it three or four? I think it's four
I think
because
this
I
is the
think
fourth one.
yeah, no, I think it's
Because it
four. I
because
think
it
because they had like 2 episodes for each of the series that he put out in the varying years. Because it was like, okay, there was big special, and then there's like, the low key. I'm at like a regular comedy house special for like each of them. Um, but anyways, yeah, it doesn't matter. This one was it was about the same shit that he talked about before, that he talked about in both of the other ones. It's like both of them combined as far as topics go, and he just delivers similar jokes, but not in the same way, and it was less funny than the ones prior to this, which is fine because he was trying to like push his point across instead. He was really really focused on the LGBTQ community, or LGBTQ plus community, and he kept fucking it up. He kept saying like LBGT or and shit like that, which is like that's a clear distinction that this man is not well versed in what he's talking about, and people who are pissed at him make it seem like he knows exactly what he's talking about, but he doesn't. Like he's an old man who a lot of this shit is kind of like new to him. He's from the era where Eddie Murphy got a bunch of shit because he got caught with like a trans prostitute, and they like gave him a bunch of shit for that. Like, oh, Eddie Murphy is this and that, and it was like that he's just doing whatever. Like that's his life, bro. Like it's not that big of a deal, that kind of shit. So he was saying a lot of boomerish things, and that's to be expected. Um, a lot of his takes were strange because the way that he worded them was like they came off as he doesn't understand this concept fully, or they came off as like he may feel a certain way that's aligned with certain people who are like against these people, like having autonomy and whatnot. But ultimately, if you like pay attention to the whole special, his whole point is like, I don't care. His whole point is supposed to be like, I don't care, what they do with their bodies and blah, 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 this and that. I don't want to be responsible for their, like, I don't know, for their, like, self-esteem, for their lives, blah, blah, all that shit. I just want to live and be like, it's cool that you're doing what you're doing. I support that. If you're happy, you're happy. Awesome. Nobody should hate you for it. I don't hate you for it, but you should also stop putting it in my face. That's the general energy of like what he was saying. And like he told the story of Daphne, which That was like a very heartfelt story. I already knew what the like end of that story was going into it because that was like a big topic that people talked about in general around the time his last special came out because she was featured in the second part. Like there's like a picture of her there. He told the story of like, of meeting her and her like, laughing at a lot of his jokes about trans people and all that stuff, whatever. But he kept doing this thing where like he was using her as like in like a sort of like token kind of way of like, well, I have this friend and she finds my jokes about this funny. And so I don't know why the rest of you are mad. And he even goes further in his story to talk about how she actually defended him because people were like, giving him shit for talking about her and whatnot. And, they're trying to say that he was punching down and like, all this other shit. And she defended him and she got a bunch of shit for defending him because, again, people on the internet, people who are, quote, terminally online, people who,
People who are terminally online, they do not handle discourse well,
yes,
and
uh,
much less nuanced topics.
e- exactly. Like a lot of people who, have their own like emotional problems when it comes to these kind of subjects. They get very, very like, they just jump to a lot of conclusions about these things and don't really understand the nuance of he can say these things and not want people to hurt you, not want people to like kill you and whatnot. He specifically in his special before this actually said if anybody hears any of these jokes that I'm talking about about the LGBTQ plus community and they decide that they want to like hurt them or like kill them or hate them or whatever, they're a fucking piece of shit. And I don't like, I don't condone that. Like he's already covered the base of like, I don't hate them, but he has his like his views and they're very dated. Like his views are very, very dated on the community, which people are mad because they want him to like change those views, but that dude's fucking old, Like I don't think he's gonna change them that much. I think the level that he's at is as good as we're gonna get. And when it comes to me, stuff like that, it's like, okay, at least he respects them enough to be like, I don't hate you for, existing. I don't hate you for being your true self. I don't care. As long as it doesn't impede on me and my life, you can do whatever. And I think you should have the right to do whatever. That's fine. But he started saying shit like, gender is, he specifically said like gender is important or gender is real. I think was the wording he put.
He said
And
his phrase he used was gender is a fact.
yeah, gender is a fact. And he's not talking about gender. He's talking about sex. Like he's talking about sex when it comes to that. A lot of people, when they go into this discourse, they don't understand that gender and sex are two different things. A lot of the people who are actual like real turfs try to use the whole like biological male, biological female like type of argument or whatever. Ultimately, who the fuck cares? People are people, and that's what really matters at the end of the day. Like
Because there's something about if anyone goes to look up the definition of gender right now, it's all about societal and cultural differences and distinguishments between whatever the affixed gender roles that they have are.
exactly.
And the culture has been very volatile and has been very shifting in that nature. So when you take that definition, just because it hasn't been malleable in so long, does not mean that it's not malleable. And it's changing. And trust me, I don't think anybody, me, myself included, anybody that I know that I can say high five, buddy, and have on a first name basis with, has that solved. Because there's a lot. I don't think
Yeah.
anybody I know has it solved. How do I know they don't have it solved? Because there's some people who are gender fluid who don't even know what gender fluid means. There are people who think they're gender fluid, but then they realize they are something else on some spectrum somewhere within. So I'm not gonna sit up here and posterize and grandstand and hot dog and tell you that I'm an expert, because I'm not. I would dare say I'm a novice.
So one of the things that people are really pissed about is that he sort of defended J.K. Rowling, um, because he was like, "Oh, they got mad at J.K. Rowling," and the way that he described it was like, "Oh, she said in an interview that something like women are women or something like that, and trans women are or different," and then he said, she's the lady that made Harry Potter, and they got her," and I'm like, he doesn't understand. He doesn't know the whole story at all, because it wasn't just her in an interview saying all this shit. She went on a fucking tirade for like months saying all this shit. She went out of her way to try and quote some lady who was a TERF who tried to use like biological arguments to say that trans women can never be women and all this other bullshit. And then she also wrote a whole fucking book on her weird nightmare scenario of like a trans woman or of like a man who cross dresses to go into like women's bathrooms or like whatever to like lower women's defenses and try to kill them. And it's like, all that shit is fucking deranged. Like that's not commonplace. Yes, these things happen, but that's not commonplace, and
Trust
that's
me, if
not
somebody wanted to snuff somebody or kidnap or do something dirty to someone in the bathroom, to that degree, they're not going to cross dress to do it. They're just going to be like, "Oh, you're in there alone, are you?"
exactly.
and
Like,
they're going to do whatever illegal activity that they planned on doing in the first place.
let's be real. Someone who's like, someone who's like a rapist or like murderer, whatever, who's like, the very like deranged person that they're trying to describe is not going to get stopped by the barrier of, oh, this is the women's restroom, I can't go in here. You think they care about those
Yeah,
limitations?
like that's not a force field that's projected like, wow. Oh no, I can't. Like that's not how that works. Because I don't know
Yeah.
if y'all know this. Same sex rape, that type of stuff happens. You can walk
Yes.
into the man's bathroom, but all of a sudden, next thing you know, you hear the stall open up while you facing the wall. It's like, huh? And boom, tragedy. These people do not care about a sign on a door. They don't even care if it's a one person only stall. These
And
criminals are criminals.
yeah. So that shouldn't be the equation. Like that shouldn't be the like your basis on
Be-
like reasoning on how like a general group of people act. Like
because
it's
even Chappelle,
fucking stupid.
whether people say that he knew it or not, when he was talking about those laws about you can only go into the bathroom of your assigned sex at birth and blah 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 blah,
Yep.
he was like, who are those laws for? Because like, who are they protecting? Like, if you break it down, he's basically saying what we just said. It's not protecting anybody. That is a law to just make someone feel less about themselves. That's all the law's for.
So the thing that's getting clipped, because like I saw, the article title before I saw the special, and that's how I knew the special was out in the first place. So I watched it when I got the chance, and in the special, he says, he's like, oh, they use the word turf to describe J.K. Rowling, and then he said trans exclusionary, he put out the actual definition and then said, I guess I'm a turf too, and like when he said that, it was pretty fucking obvious that he didn't understand the ramifications of saying that. He didn't understand what he was actually saying, because he contradicted himself like a couple of like seconds after that, talking about like Caitlyn Jenner. And first off, he said Caitlyn Jenner is a great person. Come on now.
Like, so here's the thing. Like, when he says that I'm a turf, there's a key word in there that's exclusionary.
Yeah.
That's one of them. But the other word is radical.
Yeah.
Like, look, it's one thing if you want to play the hoo-ha game of you're making a distinguishment between women, biological women, and trans women. I personally think it's okay to do that. I believe that you should be able to have that distinction. But you shouldn't be able to say, like, this woman is a fake woman, not a real woman.
Right.
You can be a woman, you're just not a biological woman. I think that's fair to say. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. Don't just say you're wrong. Please, because I'm willing to learn. Please explain it. We can have that conversation. I'm 100% on board with that. Or if you're in the chat, please, 100%. Let me know.
Also, one thing to note that like a lot of people try to put out this ideal that that trans people don't understand the biology and all this other bullshit.
Of course they do.
Yeah, trans people are like the first people who will be like who will tell you, you know, the reality of things. But they're not trying to change anything. They're not trying to say like, "Oh, call me a biological female," blah blah, all this other stuff. There's like maybe like a minority of people who want it, who do all that. Sure, but there are other things going on there that would need to be addressed also. So like, but like ultimately, as a whole, the community doesn't want anything other than general respect. Just respect the fact that I identify as a woman. I, you know, see myself as a woman. I want you to also see me as a woman. You know, I identify as a man. I want you to see me as a man. I don't identify as man or woman. See me as that. Refer to me by these pronouns, please. You know,
Or
and
or if you can't be asked to do that, hit him with the cheat sheet. What's your name? My name is Erica. Boom. I'm calling you Erica every time. Excuse me, Erica. Hey, how you doing, Erica? Boom. Easy. That's all you got to do.
here's the thing. Here's the thing.
It's simple.
Even if you like misgender a trans person, 9 times out of 10 they can tell if you're doing it on accident, and they'll just correct you and be like, you know, please, you know, please correct yourself next time, or you know, whatever, please refer to me by this next time, or whatever. The problem is people who like misgender them on purpose to as like a jab, you know, that's a whole different problem. And those people are just assholes. There are a lot of people who are just being assholes because they can. Usually they're also like edgy ass fucking people anyways. But you know, ultimately, with Dave's like comedy special, I just didn't want him to talk about that community at all because those jokes are like his worst jokes. And not in terms of like subject matter. I mean, like, they're not his funniest jokes at all. Some of them are like, oh, ha, ha, I get it. That's a chuckle or whatever. But it's like most of them are like, I get what you're doing, but this is very dated and it's just kind of like borderline cringe. You know, it's like you don't understand what you're saying, and the joke that you're making is like dumb and kind of like it's just not funny.
Hey, comedy's in the eye of the beholder because I thought the majority of the special had some humor to it. Like, you know what I'm
I
saying? I
mean,
had some
like, I'm
chuckles
not.
in there. What I'm trying to say is I understand his talking points, and it was very obvious what he was attempting to get at. But it seems like every time he would make a progress step forward in terms of getting his point across, the next joke kind of undercut it. Just take the feet out of the thing he just put up.
That's my problem with the special as a whole, because every time there's a good joke, it would just get undercut by a bad joke, like immediately, in most of the time. And he had all of these like super elaborate build-ups and whatnot, like he normally does. And you listen for like, you know, 2 to 5 minutes or whatever of this long build-up, and then you get like flat. You know, like the space juice joke. Like it was like, okay, I get it, but like space juice, like that just seems like, you know, like an
Like,
open mic kind of like joke, not
well,
like
the reason
Dave
why
Chappelle
no
really thought this out.
the reason why I thought he brought that joke up was because of the whole thing that happened with like Nick Cannon last year. Because you know his
That's
whole anti-Semitic thing that he went through, and the whole fallout that he had from that, where everybody wanted him off TV, blah 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 blah. So he thought he was probably poking fun at a space Jew joke. Once again, joke was a very baseline throwaway. Who
yeah.
really gives a fuck joke? And that's why people are probably not like, you know, feeling all the animosity behind that joke or whatever. But
Like I don't know when this was this specifically was taped, but it had to have been like a while after that Nick Cannon thing happened, and we're all just kind of like, okay, that's weird. Anyways, because the Hoteps exist. We all know someone who's like deep in like Hotep lore, who's deep in like pro black lore, and says all the kind of stuff that Nick Cannon was saying, and it was like, okay, he said all that on a podcast and it got out and he lost a lot of his deals because it's like you can't just say stuff like that and just be like, yeah, this is the truth, that the truth that they don't want to tell you. And it's like they're the general populace is not gonna agree with that. And then you also have like Jewish people who are gonna hear you say that and be like, okay, it's kind of dangerous that you just like really believe that you are the first real Jews and that I am a fake Jew, that kind of thing. So I don't know. That was it was weird. Also, in the grand spectrum of like everything else that was in the special, it was like odd as like a topic to put in there. But he did make like a callback once or twice to it to try and like pepper it throughout the special so that it kind of had that that consistency. But if the special didn't have that joke, it still would have made a little bit more sense. Like if this was just like a throwaway joke he was trying to use or something, sure, fine. Like it seemed like that was the case, but I don't know. It just didn't land the
Because
way he wanted it to.
the whole thing that I thought was like very interesting was the point he was trying to make about how the LGBTQ community has this what's the word they call intersectionalism with other minorities, such as like, oh, if you're black and you're part of the community, LGBT community, and you're white, is LGBT community, they still have their white privilege, while those who are not white and part of that community don't. And it is very apparent from the arguments that he was trying to give that white people in that community will use that white privilege as their leverage over their minority counterparts of same community. And there was a whole thing that he tried to go on about that, which is worth talking about.
Yeah, I get where he was going.
There's evidence of that, and then there's the whole thing about the baby, and it's like, look, I get what you're trying to say, but you omitted a huge detail there.
Yeah.
That the baby's whole incident was in self-defense. Like, there's a whole chapter there. Like, yeah, the way he told the story was the baby just went to Walmart one day and said, "Ain't that fuck bitch over there?" and just opened fire. And just killed a man in cold blood for no reason and just walked away and took no damage to his career.
First off, that happened like early in his career or like before he even like popped off.
Before anyone even knew who he was.
So yeah, of course he got away with that and it didn't affect his career because like,
what career at that time, really?
Exactly. Like, so if it wasn't like immediately happening around the same time he was popping off, people were just like, oh, he got bodies. He raps about having bodies. Oh, okay. Whatever. Shit, what was I gonna say before this? Anyways, yeah. The Kevin Hart thing. Okay. The thing that like my pet peeve with the Kevin Hart thing that he keeps bringing up is that he makes it seem like Kevin Hart got pushed out of the hosting the Oscars because of the fact that people dug up old tweets of his old jokes that were pretty like homophobic, but they're like old tweets of old jokes that he doesn't do anymore. So it shouldn't have been a problem. I agree it shouldn't have been as big of a problem. But the thing about that situation that a lot of people don't address is that Kevin Hart quit because of the backlash, and he could have.
No, it wasn't specifically because of the backlash. They wanted him to make a formal apology. He said, "I'm not apologizing for something I already apologized for."
But he also apologized anyways.
Hey, look, I'm sure he just wanted to stand 10 toes down on it because he already apologized, said he wasn't gonna do it again. And well, sometimes if them sales ain't racking up the way you thought you was, sometimes that apology come out. Look at the baby. Because that man tried 10 toes down in it too, and you saw how quick it came out.
Look.
On the notes app.
I get that Kevin Hart felt like he didn't need to apologize for that. I understand because he shouldn't have had to apologize for something that literally was not relevant to him or his image or anything like that anymore, because those were old tweets from like 2013, like years and years ago,
And
and he
it was
had never shown any behavior that really showed that he like still
the
felt
main
those things
tweet
strongly.
and the main tweet that everyone talked about was the one where he says, "I'm gonna hit my son with a Barbie house," which is weird because it's like, but you bought your son the Barbie house. Like I don't
Yeah, that's
like
supposed to be.
you could see like how this is clearly a joke.
Yeah.
But once again, Twitter is that place where people don't necessarily do that thing where they think it through. They just see something that is slightly offensive and they just take slightly offensive to obscene. And then that's when it just comes into a full head of steam of you must hate me.
He never actually described his stance as a way of, I shouldn't have to apologize about this because this is literally not relevant to my views right now. And you should all understand that people can change when given new information, because around that same time people are also saying the F word, people are using gay as like a derogatory term and all that shit. So if you were gonna get mad at him for that tweet, you would also have to get mad at society as a whole for that whole thing, and we don't have a fucking time machine to go back and do any of that.
Hey,
So
but here's
whatever.
the thing though. Can we talk
But
about
he
the F
just
word?
said, I don't want to apologize, and so I quit because you're making me apologize if I want to keep this gig.
But can we talk about the F word real quick though? We talk about it
Sure,
just for a smidge. Okay.
go
So
for it.
here's the thing. For the longest time, I was one of those people where I was like, you know what? The word doesn't mean that. Context matters. And then one day I was just, and then no, wait, let me finish. And then one day I was just like, it clearly matters infinitely more for you guys to not hear it than it does for me to use it. I have plenty of words to call somebody an asshole. If I lose one, what's the big deal? Take it. I don't need it.
So
Me
as
not
far
saying it,
as
hey, that's easy. That's
as
light
far
work.
as as far as American discourse goes, because they definitely say it in like foreign countries because it's a word that's used for cigarettes.
Exactly. That was my first time encountering that word.
Uh, so um, so in America, it's used in a derogatory way because specifically because faggot is a bundle of sticks. And so they use that as a derogatory term towards gay people because it was like, let's throw them in the fire, like a bunch of like a bunch of faggots, or like, a bundle of sticks or whatever. Like let's burn them or whatever. It was like a call
Because
to violence.
because they were saying like, oh, because you going to hell anyway. Like, don't get me wrong.
Right.
I get why you would not want me to use it. But it also, I could tell that because of that and its history, it means infinitely more to you that I don't use it than I care to use it. It was just one of those words that's just like, on the back burner, like one of those words you pull out there to just hit the zinger on them, and then it's like, oh, I see. This is new information that was brought to my attention. I understand. I get it. I understand why, because I may call somebody insert word here because they cut me off in traffic
Traffic.
because they are a piece of garbage. They were inconsiderate and they were an awful human being when they did it, and they didn't care about my life or their car or our financials. Probably driving with no insurance, and I called them that word, and that word did not once care about their sexual orientation, what they identify. None of that crossed my mind. But what if there's someone in the car who has a father or another family member or friend who found out that they were queer in some way and then started calling them that word? And now that I've said that word, what could I have done to that friend? What horrible memories could I have brought to them? What could I have triggered? Don't want to use the big T word here, but what could I have triggered to the homeboy or the homegirl who had nothing to do with any of this because some other person cut me off? And then you got to ask yourself, Do you want to say it because the word is something that you use often enough that you accurately use to depict what other people who have nothing to do with their sexual orientation, or you use it often enough to where you feel as though you need to keep it on your sling? Or are you saying it just because it's a spicy word and you know people don't want you saying it? So you feel as though you need to keep that
But
word.
see, this is the thing. A lot of people want to say that society has not improved since, however many years, whatever, right? This is a clear example of how we have improved. We all got the information that this word is probably not the best word to use, because it's not, it's just not a good word, in meaning in general. And us using it in a derogatory way was actually promoting that meaning without us even knowing it. And so we just stopped using it as a whole, besides like stupid edgy kids who are like 12 and don't know shit about shit, and who are on like TikTok and Fortnite and blah blah blah, whatever.
Because
As a
I
whole.
want to give y'all, I just want to give you a quick example though. Could you imagine if somebody cut off 60-year-old white man named Jim and he let off the hard R? He's like, what? I didn't look at his race. I just called. You see how it's different now?
Yeah.
It's not quite roll off the same way. You see. Now, granted, two very incomparable struggles. I'm not here to have the pissing contest of who had the struggle the longest or the worst.
You've brought my last point about the special that like I got tired of.
Oh, the
Okay,
struggle
like
Olympics? That
the
thing?
struggle Olympics. Like it's just really annoying that he keeps bringing up that mentality, because it's like,
But a lot of
look,
people do have it, though.
I get that. That's fine. That, well,
I
I
was like,
get
I
that.
know what you meant.
I get that. I get that a lot of people have that mentality, but like, who the fuck cares? In general, like when it comes to life, who the fuck cares? If I sit here and say, "Oh my God, I don't make as much money as XUC," I don't have as many Twitch viewers and blah blah this and that. If I complain about that kind of shit all the fucking time, if I made an elaborate fucking video, essay, paper, article, whatever, just complaining about that specific thing, at the end of the day, people are still gonna like hear that and be like, "Who the fuck cares?" Why, like it. Ultimately, what do you want us to do about that? Or hey, what do you? Oh, you just want us to give you the money because he's making more than you? It's like, you guys are different people. That kind of shit. He keeps like making this comparison of like, why does society treat this group different than they treat my group? And it's like, he applied it to comedians. He applied it to black people. All of that. And sure, I understand why he would have that kind of frustration when he sees the overall like treatment of the LGBTQ community now. But he also grew up in a time where they got they got treated in horrible, horrible ways. They were getting killed by people. They were getting, like it was literally at a point where you couldn't tell people that you were gay because someone, might maim you or kill you because of it. And those things still happen today. Just those things still happen today. And he made it seem like, they've been living life hunky dory this whole time, even though he was trying to focus mainly on white people in the community. Even then, it still happens to them too. So like, they do struggle in different ways, and he should like understand that, like, yes, we had horrible struggles. As black people, we had to deal with slavery, we had to deal with Jim Crow, we had to deal with all that shit. But
We had to deal with not even being put in the history books.
yeah. Exactly. But as the community of people, for the LGBTQ plus community, they're just now getting to a point where they're getting accepted. And even then, you still have a whole, like, you literally have a whole political group that does not support them. I mean, like, let's talk about, like, we could go back to the fucking episode where we talked about the debate where Blair White was in a panel with other right wing people, and there was a Nazi there, and the Nazi was like, "Fuck you." She's like, "Detransition if you actually care about, society and saving your soul and all this other shit. Stop living, go back to living life as a man instead of sitting here confusing the kids and ruining our society and all this and that." these are two people who literally had the same political ideology, and because one was trans and the other one was a Nazi, she still, it was like, I don't want you to exist. That still happens now, but he just kind of like brushed all that off of like, it's not that much of a big, it's not that as bad as the struggles that black people have, struggled with. So why is society so accepting of them now? It's probably because we've learned a lot of lessons from other minority groups who have struggled, like, the abuse of Irish people, the abuse of Native American people, the abuse of black people, the abuse of
Wait,
Spanish people,
do,
the abuse of Islamic people,
no,
even
do you
today.
do you know how messed up it is to be a Native American?
That's the thing.
Here's like this always boggles my mind, and I want you to follow this just on the verbiage. Okay, the person who sailed here wasn't even supposed to get here. My man couldn't even follow a map. Do you
Hmm.
realize that America could potentially be where India is?
And we're celebrating him on Monday, man.
And the thing that's crazy to me is that he gets here and he calls them Indians because he thinks he's in the West Indies somewhere. These people were labeled wrong from frame one. He had taken the world identity of these people and compromised it before he even made contact. The British people were calling these people Indians on the boat before they got there.
Exactly.
Then they called it America. And well, as you may know, well, now they're called Native Americans.
Exactly.
And in some cases, Native American Indians.
And Native Americans are still getting like horrible treatment even today. I mean, do we have to like talk about the pipeline and how there was that whole thing that still is actually a problem today? How certain areas, specifically the area that Gabby Petito was murdered in or around or whatever, apparently is also an area where a lot of Native American people have been disappearing. Like, we have so many things that other minority groups are going through right now, and he's like so focused on like, why are you guys so nice to gay, lesbian, trans, queer people in general right now? I didn't get that kind of treatment, as a black man growing up or whatnot, and it's like, okay, but you're rich and like,
Now, here's the
you
thing. Here's the thing. Like, you should be happy that anybody's getting any type of treatment. Trust me, that stuff's not guaranteed anymore.
it's not.
Like, in some cases, it's about what you can do, not about what. It's not about if you're a good person. No, it's about what can you do for your boy.
Like, he made some good points with all that, but at the same time, it's like, bro, you're complaining about something like this. That's not the most important thing to complain about, even when it comes to like the treatment of minorities right now. So
It's like yes. While there are definitely some struggles. Like, for example, cops be looking at us, looking like we the next meal ticket, we the next paid vacation. Meanwhile, some of these folks who are worried about coming out as trans, gay, whatever case may be, they're afraid to wake up and have this information fall out and wake up in the morning and realize they ain't got a family or a house. They throwing them out.
yeah, and Dave's like argument on that is that like, the community of like lesbian, gay, trans people, the queer community has passability on their side where they can just pass as people who aren't in that community or whatever, so that they can appear a certain way, so that they can not get profiled by cops and all that shit. But we can't, just we can't pass as like white people. We can't pass as people who are like quote unquote one of the good ones, like all that shit. So he's like, oh, we struggle in a different way, and yeah, we the struggles are different. But as someone who is a part of a group that has struggled, why why be concerned with the group that's also struggling in a different way instead of being concerned with the group that's causing the struggle?
Because, like we said, there's that intersectionalism there that people don't talk about. I mean, there are people who are in the Venn diagram, center portion of minority, of Black, Asian, Native American, Hispanic, blah 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 blah, and part of
Right.
the LGBTQ. So, like, some of them are playing double jeopardy, for lack of a better term.
Like when it comes to feminism, when it comes to the LGBTQ plus community, those communities don't like they don't openly support the people who are being like racist, who are being like all those things that he was trying to point out of like his example of the black woman who wanted to speak at at some sort of event and she was
Oh, the
denied.
Susan B. Anthony thing that they were talking
Yeah, the
about.
Susan B. Anthony event, and she was denied because she was a black woman, even though she was also a feminist. Those people who denied her are shitty, and they're not like true feminists if they're denying this woman to speak because of the color of her skin. That's not what actual feminism is about. And
Yeah,
like
because
understanding the
that's Sojourner Truth, I believe her name.
yeah, Sojourner Truth. Yeah,
Because you got to
yeah, yeah,
remember, this was back in 1851, so it wasn't the fact that she was a feminist. That people, no, the people who were in that crowd, they were racist.
exactly. And
Though those were 1851 America. This was white women who wanted to have the same privileges as their white men.
white men, yeah.
But they were like, "Oh no, not you though. We need to be above somebody." Come on, guys. There's levels to this. That was their mo. So
And
just by
as a
having
society, we were able to teach those white women, hey, you are like the way that you feel right now about how you don't have the same rights as white men, you're putting that on black women and men right now. Maybe you should not do that. And they're like,
no, boy, that's not how that went,
I mean,
folks. They went kicking and screaming into the dark. There was not just a come on, guys. There was no hold arm kumbaya. That was generational warfare, fam.
bro, we still gotta tell some people how that works because they go the opposite way where they're like, like, how dare you? You're oppressing, you're re-oppressing my black brothers and sisters right now. Leave them alone. It's like, hey, whoa, calm down. It's like, just because that person cut me in line doesn't mean they're re-oppressing me. Please calm down. Like, it's okay. I can talk for myself right now.
Oh, don't even get me started. You know what? That's a whole. We will go down a huge rabbit hole here,
Yeah,
but
we will. So
here, hi, hold on, wait, hi, white people. There's just a small little PSA. If you're white, please just give me a minute, just give me a moment, just a small fraction of your time.
not even just white people, anybody who is of any minority group or any racial group, anybody out there who is listening to this, don't be these people.
Do not be the people who feel as though they have to speak on behalf of another minority group if you're not a part of that minority group. Because I promise you, we're looking at you like, we have our own mouth. Now, we're not saying don't back us up. We're not saying not to have our back. We're not saying that can't stand shoulder to shoulder. But some of y'all be trying to jump in front of the movement and make it about yourself. You gotta stop that. Stop that. Please. Anyway, there are plenty of other things that are here on the docket. We got the Twitch leak out of the way, Chappelle show, the closer out of the way.
Now let's talk about Facebook because real quick, Facebook and all of Facebook's other properties like WhatsApp, Instagram. I think that's it. WhatsApp, Instagram. I think there was one more thing, but whatever. Those platforms and Facebook all went down a couple of days ago because,
Everybody can get
Facebook.
it.
Yeah, everybody can get it. Facebook is running into some sort of unexpected DNS issue that was so bad that people who worked in at Facebook headquarters in the Facebook building couldn't get in because their badges couldn't get swiped because their badges hit the server in order to let them in. Which, wow,
That just
that's
seems like a design flaw. Like your servers have to ping their badges in order to get in. Like y'all don't have like a digital code. Like I could put in like 689275, and you just
yeah.
give that to your employees on like a keypad or something to get in.
There should be like some kind of failsafe for that because If that building, has something important that you need to get to immediately and you're locked out because of a DNS issue, because of a server issue,
And that's all it
y-
takes, man.
you're
You're locked.
relying too much on technology.
Hey, man, I'm telling you, it's gonna be like one of those days in the future, man. We're gonna be trying to go to McDonald's. Those minimum wage jobs are now gonna be replaced by robots, and then we're gonna get in there, and then the lightning gonna hit the McDonald's.
Now, let me tell you
Now you got half a sandwich.
Let me tell you a real life story about McDonald's that is kind of related to this sort of like subject matter.
Oh Lord.
There was a day a couple of months ago where McDonald's, like their system was down. So because of their system being down, they could not take any orders at all. Like if you pulled up and you were like, "Yo, I got cash. Like let me get cheeseburgers and fries or whatever." Nah, sorry, system's down. We can't process your order at all. If I want to order through Uber Eats through whatever, they'll take your order and then immediately have to call you back. We can't process payments at all right now. So sorry, it's done. It always reminds me of that episode of South Park where the internet went down and everybody was like, "Shit, what do we
What do
do?
we
Like,
do?
I don't know what to do."
Where does
It-
society go from here?
we gotta not be at a point in time where we're so dependent on technology, so dependent on the internet, so dependent on the servers and all of this infrastructure that if someone gets into a server and crashes it, now we can't do shit at
Because
all.
I'm gonna tell you something that's kind of messed up that y'all ain't ready to hear. Some of y'all, because I've seen it happen. Some of y'all have been relying on technology so much, especially these things in our devices called smartphones. Some of y'all have been relying on them for so long, y'all don't forgot how to do basic math. I've seen it. I've seen somebody count by tens recently hitting the 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 80. And I'm like, what happened to 60 and 70, bro? He said, what? 10, 20, 50. And he said, 70. And I was like, that's not the number you said last time, and it's still not the right number. I'm just letting you know that's it's not good. He's like, damn, you right. My fault. I said, what? Your fault. It's rough. It's rough. These calculators on these phones are starting to get good. The Nintendo Switch got a scientific calculator app on it for $10. Yes, they're still
Wait,
charging $10. Oh, you didn't know about
$10?
that?
No.
There is an app that is $9.99. $9.99 US. That is a scientific calculator app on the Nintendo Switch. Yes, you can do scientific equations on your Switch for a low price. $9.99.
that
Which
that's
makes me
stupid.
which makes me wonder if it has a graphing functionality. This has a big screen. Is the Switch the new Texas Instruments calculator? Can the Switch be used at an exam? Just food for thought. Just chill out. Just let that marinate. Let that seep into the pores a little bit before we move forward. But
Yeah. Anyways, back to Facebook.
mhm.
Facebook. The big thing to take away from the Facebook thing is that it was a DNS problem. It was like a server issue. Servers were down. People who literally worked for what is it with the Omni oh my god. Oh my god. What's the VR headset that starts with an O? Oh,
Oculus?
Oculus. There we go. Oculus is the other company that I was leaving out. People at like even developers at Oculus were like, "Yeah, our hands are tied. We got nothing. Sorry, we can't do anything about this. Whatever." So they were just down for like hours and hours and hours. And there's a theory going around that this is happening in conjunction with a certain investigation into Facebook that's going on in connection with a whistleblower who said that Facebook actually doesn't regulate fake news and things like that on purpose because of ad revenue and basically uh, money. It's money. It's always money. So there's a whistleblower who's like exposing Facebook, and there's an investigation going in on this, and this kind of issue could cause certain important documents to get erased And it's like, man, I'm sorry, officer. I can't like give you what you're looking for because it's not here anymore. Sorry, you know how computers are.
All finicky and whatnot.
Yeah, all finicky and whatnot. Exactly.
Always
So
going out right when you need them most. You know, inconvenient.
Facebook lost like I want to say 7 million, but I think it's actually $7 billion on this one specific crash. And their stock went down, but it's gonna go back up. It's Facebook. People are
I
still
was
gonna go
gonna
back to
say,
it.
that's one, like, it's one of the undefeated. Like, if you're one of the hallmarks of social media, your Twitters, your Facebooks, YouTube, things of that nature. Like, you're kind of playing with house money at this point. Like, unless you come out and you change everyone's video to just start saying racial slurs every time someone tries to upload it, and like showing some type of, let's just say, not safe for work paraphernalia,
Yep.
or the mutilation of another human being, or something just egregious like that. Usually, as long as you can avoid that doomsday scenario, you'll be fine.
I mean, where else is your grandpa gonna go to get his memes talking about why we haven't heard about the Jeffrey Epstein case in a long time?
Why haven't we, guys? Find out at 8. I mean, apparently we just found the Zodiac killer. Apparently, so
And he's dead. Like that was like the weirdest article I've ever seen in my life. It's like, yeah, we have finally identified the Zodiac killer, and his name is Gary, and he's dead. And I'm like, what? What? Like, okay, so we found out that this killer who hasn't been a problem for years is dead because he's old, as we expected at this point in time. Like,
mhm.
great. Also, apparently that dude left a review on like one of the many movies that are about Ted Bundy, and he was like, oh, it wasn't that great. This movie was really really mid. So apparently he's a Ted Bundy fan. Who would have guessed, right?
He was taking notes. He was just like, man, I was better. People are wild out here, man.
They are,
It's like
but
he
hey, Nickelodeon All Stars Brawl. That's keeping them wild on the video games instead of wild in the streets, right? With
look,
their new Switch OLEDs.
look. All I'm going to say about Nickelodeon All Stars is exactly what I said it was a few episodes ago when we talked about it. It's a game that is an interesting premise, but it lacks the charm and the character of a cartoon. Which, if you're having a game about cartoon characters beating each other up, and the cartoon characters don't say any of their funny quips or catchphrases or anything new, then it kind of diminishes the personality and the characterization of what you're trying to build here, and it's kind of at odds with itself. So it's like, okay, well, maybe the gameplay will 100% sell you, right?
Um,
The gameplay.
okay.
Oh,
Wait,
okay.
stop right there. Stop right there real
Mhm.
quick. This one day we're gonna have a conversation um about whether or not the FGC should accept a fighting game that has, pretty decent gameplay, but is not a good video game at all.
You're gonna have to elaborate on that.
Okay, think about this. Marvel vs. Capcom 3, right? That's a great video game. If some casual person who just likes Marvel or Capcom bought it, they're getting a great product because it has all this lore, it has, all these cool interactions with the characters, all these cool costumes, the game looks amazing, the game has an amazing soundtrack, all this great stuff, you know?
Mhm.
Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, the start screen is very very mid and like bland. The music is very bland and soulless. It has costumes, but you have to pay extra for the costumes, and some of the characters, and a lot of the characters are kind of flat. Like you pick Iron Man on the screen and he says, I am Iron Man. Like overall as a video game, for casual fans of the characters, or of the content, it's not a great experience for them because they're not diehard trying to figure out how to do gun super into switch into soulstone activation. They're not trying to do all that kind of stuff, right?
Hmm.
Nick All Stars gameplay pretty nice. It's pretty great. Even though it looks ugly, it's a pretty fun game with a pretty great experience. It's got rollback netcode, even though it's not implemented in the best way. It's still rollback netcode at the end of the day. And the music is kind of nice. It has a competitive mode so that if you're trying to play on the stages that aren't janky, you playing on them and they have like a pretty good atmosphere and pretty good music behind it and stuff like that. But no voice acting. The animations are really, really like janky and like weird. And the like hit sounds and stuff like that are kind of they seem like stock sounds. Uh,
It almost feels like a game that's just not finished and wasn't ready to come out for another months to a year.
yeah,
But a lot of people have been saying that, oh, don't worry, they're going to add voices later on, which I doubt because there have been a plethora of Nickelodeon games that have come out where the voices are not there. You just got to hold that L. And even in the cases where they do, sometimes it's a stand in, it's not the official voice actors from the show that you know and love. But even I think that would have been better than what we got.
yeah.
But inevitably, it's going to drop, it's going to hit on the PC, and then the modders are going to get crazy, and the modders will do it themselves. It's going to happen.
uh, of course, it's gonna happen. I mean, God, look at Guilty Gear right now. The PC version of Guilty Gear Strive is insane on some people's computers because they've just done all kinds of insane things with the game. They put like
They
"It's
put their
Always
own
Sunny in
characters
Philadelphia"
in there.
music, and yeah, they put their own
And
characters.
I
They
mean like custom moveset, like Iori's in the game now.
Thomas the Tank Engine is the bird now on the
Yep.
transition screen. So
You got
yeah.
Colonel Sanders Gold Lewis. It's finger licking good in this behemoth typhoon. And it's just a chicken wing that comes out instead of just a drumstick that comes out instead of an alien.
Yeah.
It's only limited by the people's imagination, and it's definitely wild. It's definitely interesting. I mean, any of you guys have seen my Guilty Gear Strive videos, y'all know I have a couple of mods on there, and whether it be color palettes or different music, stuff like that, it is very, 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 very easy to tailor. I was gonna say Dusty Gear Strive because of
Oh,
the Dust one, but Guilty Gear Strive and tailor it to your own unique experience that you want. And I'm sure Nickelodeon All Stars Brawl will definitely go through the exact same paces in which all those characters you think they should have added, they'll be there. They'll be
yeah.
there. Trust me. You will
They'll
have
be
your
there.
Jimmy Neutron versus Timmy Turner matches in no time. It'll happen.
Damn. Jimmy and Timmy didn't make the cut. That's crazy. Oh yeah,
Yep, that's a thing. And I'm pretty sure that has something to do more on Frederator than it did on Nickelodeon. But pushing past that, I know last week during the 50th episode, we said that there's a certain entity out there that's petty, known as Nintendo. And conveniently enough, y'all think that Nickelodeon coming out on October 5th with their game, you think that it was just a Coinky McDinkle a Coinky McDinkleberg?
mm.
That the Disney character shows up in Smash Brothers?
Hey man, he's not a Disney character. He's a Square Enix character. Come on, get it right. He was in a game that featured Disney characters, but Sora's he's
You
Square
you
Enix, bro. He's a
you
Final Fantasy character at best.
you want to make that bet? Because I guarantee you, when I pull him up, I guarantee you who owns that trademark is not who you think it is.
Wow. Wait, what? Come on. Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. If Disney owns Sora, that actually is kind of weird.
Okay, here you go. Boom. Sora, along with the whole Kingdom Hearts franchise, is owned by Disney, with Square Enix only developing and publishing the games.
Ah, so Square Enix is enslaved. I see. All right. It all makes sense now. So we actually should be fighting Disney. That's just it. We should be fighting Disney.
Pull up on them. Beat
Pull
Disney
up
up.
on them. Hey Disney, what you doing, my boy Sora over there? I mean, shit, man, you couldn't give us Goofy and Donald for a stage?
Hey, look, bro. They didn't even want them on the murals during the stage transition, bro.
Exactly.
They
Insanity.
they said, "No, what you mean? Goofy and Donald right there." Points to Duck Hunt Dog. That's exactly what they did. Now, I think for an amazing gag, the mural should have had Duck Hunt Dog and Duck.
Yeah, I'll accept that.
Even if it was just for the trailer as a gag, they should have went with it. Missed opportunity there. But at the same time, I also think Disney probably was like, no. I'm pretty sure Nintendo might have even pitched that, and Disney was just like, no, you're just not putting anything there.
No
Weird,
fun here.
weirdo. Are we gonna take Sora back? Don't make us regret this decision.
Yeah, but Sora's announced. Sora looks cool. People were really happy that they put in all these homages to Kingdom Hearts. The Sora went against Cloud and Sephiroth to see them fight. They in the trailer, Sora reenacted his fight with Sephiroth in Kingdom Hearts 2. Uh, Sora has abilities that are all from Kingdom Hearts. Um, the set of abilities that they gave him, like it could have been better, but I mean, it's fine. He's in the game.
Mhm.
You're all happy now, right?
And I see a lot of people, are upset. They're worried. They're walking for it with trepidation due to the simple fact that they remember what happened with the last time they got the last DLC character in a Smash game. And they see that this character has combos, this character has the movement. I'm just saying, I'm not saying he's gonna be Bayonetta broken from Smash 4, but I'm not saying that he won't be that in some capacity. What did you see from that trailer? What do you think? Do you think it could
um,
happen?
Sora has Sora's Sonic Blade is kind of similar to Air Afterburner Kick, so people are like concerned,
Yeah,
but it's not. I don't think it's gonna be as bad as Bayonetta was in Smash 4. Like day
it doesn't.
one
It does
Bayonetta.
not look like it racks up the same amount of damage as fast, and he also doesn't have a move that slows down time.
Exactly. He has a counter, and his counter looks like it's booty. I mean, like it literally he if he gets hit with something that can hit behind him, the counter doesn't work. So it's cool. Like Sora will be fine.
And given the many disjoints of a platform fighter, I'm sure that won't be hard to exploit
Yeah,
for a large portion of the roster.
he will be totally fine.
And I can't really say a large portion because you'll have 89 characters. I, the ones who are top tier will probably still be able to handle themselves pretty well.
Yeah, I would say the same. I mean, there's just so much that's already in the game. I mean, also the game has so many characters that there's just so much that's probably like untapped right now. I mean, look at Melee. People are still finding out tech from Melee. So, with a game with 89 characters, there's definitely some tech that's just left on the table that could probably like change things. And I
And
don't think
some
the
of it
game's
will
getting a
be
balance
matchup
patch.
specific.
Yeah,
Oh, you don't think it's going to balance patch at all?
I don't think. Yeah, I didn't hear any talk of like a balance patch for Kingdom Hearts with the Sora patch. Maybe there's going to be some like bug fixes, but it doesn't look like. Yeah, it doesn't look like they're going to balance out anything or really like change any characters like that. So interesting.
Do you think there'll be any stealth patches? Like, stuff that they
Maybe.
don't put in the patch notes. It just kind of sneaks its way into the game.
Maybe a little bit, but I don't think it's going to be anything that's like game breaking or game changing.
Yeah. Because we know at Nintendo, they do things a little bit differently up there.
You are right about that, but it seems like Sora is literally just like all right, guys, here you go. Please leave us alone. Sakurai needs to go to sleep for like a couple of years, so
We did
please.
everything you wanted! Let him go to hibernate. So he can make the best Kirby game he can.
Is
Stuff.
he doing that new Kirby game?
You know? I just assume. I just assume. You're right. Let me go look it up. New Kirby game. What's it called? Kirby and the
It's like Diamond something, isn't it?
Forgotten Land or something like that.
I guess. Kirby titles are kind of booty.
The games rock, but their title game could use some work.
Mm-hmm.
Kirby and the Forgotten Land. Because I'm genuinely curious. I'm sure he has something to do with it. He always has. Okay, they have not made any actual announcements, so it's still HAL Laboratory, so you know how that is.
Yeah, I know exactly how that is.
So I mean, let's face it, Star Allies was a banger, and this is actually the first time we're getting Kirby in 3D, which is kind of huge. And when I say 3D, I'm not talking about Kirby 64 because that was still 2D. You know, it was that simulated 3D where it's
Right.
2D, but it's got some 3D models in it.
Right.
It's not what we're talking about.
2.5D.
Yeah, there you go. This is the first time where, like, as some people have dubbed it, it's Kirby Odyssey, which it very well may be, but I'm here for it either way. I'm here for it all the same.
Yeah, Kirby. I mean, Mario Odyssey was good. So if it is Kirby Odyssey, perfect.
I'll take it. It'd be a great addition to the collection. But speaking of great additions to the collection, you know, Nintendo, while they may have pulled off some petty stuff, you know what they didn't do?
What?
They didn't just lie to the viewers.
Ah,
Now you may be saying, what do I mean by lie to the viewers? There's this company known as, well, Square Enix, and they kind of tripped themselves up. Speaking of Square, with this Marvel's Avengers. Now I'm not saying they bit off more than they could chew, but I think working with Disney is usually just that kiss of death. Because I
hey
feel,
man. Whoa now. Let's put blame where blame is due. Crystal Dynamics is the true culprit here.
hold on, I was getting there because Crystal Dynamics head Mr. Amos, Scott Amos, that is. He said, in terms of how we will monetize the game, we'll have cosmetics, no gameplay paywalls. And this is something that this man said all the way back in 2019, and we all knew he was capping then. Did we not?
We sure did.
We knew what this was, especially with how it looked. We were like, this looks like a mobile game. If there's anything we know about mobile games, it's they will nickel and dime you. They will bleed you dry for every penny and last rancid cent if they can do so. You knew it was coming. We all knew it was the community who play it know it was coming. And they were like, you know what? Maybe they won't do it. Maybe they won't. Well, they did it once, there was some backlash, and here we are again. Because now they're trying to sell it to you XP boosters, which is going to make the grind faster. It's going to make things easier. It's going to be able to actually, oh, I don't know, make you get through the game that's not at a snail's pace. And when it's a game where you're running the same missions over and over ad nauseum, you know, in order to get your levels up, you know, going the grind, it's usually not that bad to have some sort of way to boost XP. But it is bad when the XP used to be a lot lower needed in order for progression, and then you made a patch that made it more difficult, made it have you put infinitely more hours than you had to before to get to the same result, and now you're like, well, now you can buy the old patch. You can buy the old XP curves. Because remember, before they said they changed it because, and I quote, we believe you were getting powerful abilities way too fast. This ain't a
It's
Metroidvania title, pal.
exactly. It's a PvE, man.
They just beating up monsters.
Right.
And in a lot of the cases, the monsters don't even have a face. They're literally just faceless goon or robot 6000.
Exactly.
You're basically playing like Dynasty Warriors, but without the captains. It's kind of weird. But I digress. Is there some things in there that a lot of people in the community do like? Absolutely. I'm not trying to say that the game is absolutely 100% fecal matter. Because it's not, I knew from jump it wasn't my type of game. But the fact is, the little community that you have that already has it bad enough to where they don't even really want to play their game, they just play it because they like Marvel, and you find a way to piss them off again. I don't know how many times I can go through this. They'll just play Miles Morales again or something. They'll wait for that Wolverine drain game to drop, or what's that Avengers? Not Avengers. X-Men Marvel mobile game that's coming out.
Oh,
The XCOM looking game.
oh yes. I don't even know. Was it Golden Knights or something?
I believe so, but you get my point. Like they'll just wait for one of those things to drop and then they're out of there. Speaking of which, I know we talked about this like a few episodes ago, but I still cannot believe that DC game, that DC League of Legends take game, just didn't work. It's crazy.
I don't understand it either.
Like I'm not saying it would have been a slam dunk idea. It's just that like even if they had messed it up, I just didn't see it falling so flat so quickly. Because I don't even think it lasted 6 months.
I don't understand how like that concept like just got like so shat on. Also, the X-Men game you're talking about is Marvel Midnight Suns. But yeah, I don't understand how a DC MOBA game just didn't fly like at all. Like it didn't go anywhere. Who the hell doesn't want to be Superman in a MOBA game? Come on, bro. Like my ult is like I don't know. I could like fly all the way to the other team's base and like take out six people or something. Like they could put some like wild abilities in that game and make it so fun. Plus, Batman is in there. Tons of people love Batman. Tons of people love anything that involves Batman. Like
But because
you
here's the
make it free
thing.
to play.
Here's the thing though. I felt like they didn't know their audience because what they wanted to do was steal from League and Dota. No, man, be like Pokemon Unite. Pokemon knows that their game primarily is for a young audience. So their
Mm,
games cannot be longer than 10 minutes. The timer starts at 10. It's a 10-minute MOBA game. And the map takes you what? If you walk straight across, the map takes you what? Maybe 20, 15 to 25 seconds, depending on your character, to get all the way across.
yeah,
And if you have your ult, it can take even less than that. It doesn't have a super long bot phase because once again the game is 10 minutes. So clearly they knew their audience and they were like, we're gonna make a MOBA for them. We're not gonna try and make a MOBA for other people who already have a MOBA that they love and probably
hmm
invested a lot of capital into it. Especially because I know a lot of these MOBAs are cheap because they're free to play. But them character costs rack up, especially when the game got like 100, 200, 300 of these characters running around. It can be quite a lot to digest.
I mean, at the time that this game was conceived, League of Legends was in its prime, so I get them trying to like copy League or Dota, the stuff like that, and just stick to that formula because it looked like it was a winning formula. But maybe they didn't promote the game well enough or something
But look,
because
I'm gonna be honest with you. I never saw a commercial for it.
yeah,
I only
I
saw it because I was big into DC.
I only saw it because I saw the actual like announcement for it at whatever it may have been like E3 or something, but like the initial announcement for the game dropped and they're like, yeah, we're doing this. But even then it was like a side sort of thing of like, oh, we're also having this DC MOBA game. You get to play Superman and the whole Justice League and
Speaking of which, DC did announce 2 Batman games. Technically, one's a Suicide Squad game, but it's also a Bat Family game. I didn't forget.
yep.
Did not forget. Do we know anything about those games? YouTube comment section. Deliberate down there. Do your thing. Do your research.
I think that event, that like same DC event that where they did the announcement, that's supposed to come up soon. So that's when they're going to give us more information on those games.
Okay. All right. I that. But yeah, I just look, guys. I understand if you make a game and it's bad at release and you want to fix it, you really want to try things, but don't piss off your consumer base. Don't do it.
Exactly.
Learn from the developers over at No Man's Sky. If you make a turd, polish it up real nice, chisel back the goo gah, put your foot in it, and really put time, tender love and care in there, put a little TLC action, and you can then have the game that you promised them at launch, or damn near close to it. Because I want to know, can somebody please, if you play that game religiously, I know this may be a bit of, I know this may be a bit of a task. This may be a Herculean task. But I would love to see somebody with all the patch notes as one patch. Like, what if we went from vanilla to what y'all have today, October 2021, and just said it was one big patch? What all would have changed? That would be amazing to see. Because y'all have a different game. Your game from vanilla to now probably has more changes from some games' first game to their sixth. That's power. That is big power.
I
Like
think you're
this,
right.
like it could be side by side video format, or it could just be a big text file, just a big list of every individual change from vanilla to here. And I don't mean like if it changed in like 12 patches, you put the patch 12 times. I mean, literally, if none of the other patches between the one you have now and the one at launch, all of them don't exist. Just show me one big patch note as if it was one change from beginning to now. That shows what real honest effort can achieve. But it's past midnight. I think we're definitely past 2 hours. So we're going to call it on episode 51. I'm going to let the man, the myth, the legend, Subtle Fraudulence take us out on this episode.
All right. As you've heard from all the discussions that we've had today, the internet is a mistake. All right. Do not live your life dependent on the internet because at some point in time, you're going to have to live without it. So we are the boys giving you all the information on these clout chasers. Make sure to follow Qyz here at his YouTube channel. Make sure to follow me also on YouTube because episodes of this podcast will be on his channel, and things that I put out will be on my channel. If I'm probably gonna slow it down, focus more on Twitch.
Slow it down.
So don't forget to follow me on twitch.tv/subtle fraudulence. Find me on YouTube under Disaster Abdul, or you can search Subtle Fraudulence. It'll come up with either or. We will be back next week, and it was a pleasure talking to you all. I hope you all have a good night.
And a good night y'all shall have. And remember, for tomorrow, have a great set of games and an even better day. Till next time.